Hi, everyone. I'm Nadia. I'm a product designer at Monitor APM. And together with Amelia from Monitor Health, I'll be sharing some updates, what we're working on at Monitor UX. So I will talk about our new feature in metrics for adding new panels and how we're trying to think big while also shipping small and providing very quick value to our users. So just for a bit of background on metrics, metrics dashboards are dashboards that site reliability engineers, DevOps engineers, and also just developers use to monitor the health and performance of either their application or also the infrastructure that the application is running on. So here in the screenshot, you see a metrics dashboard. Each dashboard is defined in a file. So the custom dashboards in metrics are defined in YAML files. Users don't have access to the files of the out-of-the-box dashboards, which leads to a bit of complexity where some of our dashboards have one set of features and other dashboards don't have the same features just because they're different in implementation, which is a constraint. So it's not really the desired user experience that we want to provide. So some of the dashboards, you can only add a metric to a dashboard. For other dashboards, you can edit the dashboard fully in a file where you can define all the different properties. Each dashboard contains building blocks called panels. So here you see this is a panel, this is a panel, and each panel can contain different types of data visualizations. So it can be a chart, or it can also be not data visualization, but just a text block, for instance. You can also add text blocks in your dashboard if you want to add any instructions or any description for this particular dashboard. So as I mentioned, the features are different between different dashboards. Whether you can edit the dashboard or add metrics to it, it depends on what dashboard you're looking at, which is not ideal. And furthermore, you can only add certain types of panels. So you can add a metric to the dashboard, but you can't add a text panel, for instance. So this is a limitation that we're trying to solve by introducing a feature to add a new panel to your dashboard. Also, you will be able to edit the panel, delete the panel, and so on. So this is our attempt to kind of bring this experience to the common denominator and also make sure that users can set up their panels fully, not just add a metric, but add multiple metrics, set alerts on those metrics, all within one view, basically. So what does it mean to add a panel? It means a lot of things, actually. So there are many different things that we need to work on and consider. For example, when adding a panel, users may want to set up alerts on those metrics. They may want to add multiple metrics to a panel. They will need to tweak different panel settings. And then depending on the panel type, they will have to tweak settings for the chart, like a line chart, area chart, or a single stat visualization, and so on. So those settings will be conditional based on the panel type. So it's a lot to handle. It's a very big workflow that we're looking at. And currently at Metrics, we're really trying to focus on some of the quick improvements to the user experience because we're on the way to dog food metrics with our infrastructure team. So approaching something like this that will take many milestones to build, it's not easy. So how do we balance the long-term vision with the MVC approach? Because we don't want to end up with the same kind of disjointed experience that we came to this point by implementing lots of small features very quickly. So we want to consider the big picture, but we also want to make sure that we can ship something very quickly, because not being able to add a panel to your dashboard, it's a big obstacle. One of the biggest obstacles is that users can't preview panels. So you have no idea what you're adding to your dashboard. You're just writing code, and you don't know what it's going to look like until it's merged and boom, it's in the dashboard. So how do we approach something big like this? We decided that as the first step, we will ensure that UX is collaborating with engineering very closely. So we scheduled a technical spike and also design exploration. So I focused on questions like, what is the ultimately desired experience? What are all of the open questions that I have around this feature? What don't I understand? What questions do I have? What might it look like in our wildest dreams? And the engineer, Miguel, an engineer from the APM team, he focused on questions like, okay, so what is possible today? What are the constraints that we have today? How much effort will the desired user experience take to build? What is possible within the next 1 milestone or 2 milestones, and so on. So at the same time, I started working on some visionary wireframes, just trying to imagine what it could look like, what this workflow requires, what are the different features that need to be part of this, and so on. So there are so many open questions right now around this experience that really it's very visionary. There are just too many questions. So after talking to Miguel, I did my best to define the experience that I think we can ship to the users that will be usable. So the user would be able to preview a panel defined in YAML and then commit it to their dashboard, save it to their dashboard. However, it turned out that even though I did my best to strip the experience down to the bare basics, adding the panel to the dashboard will require a lot of backend effort. And right now, APM has limited backend capacity. So it turned out that my MVC is not MVC, which I'm sure happens quite often. Turned out that it will take at least 3 milestones. And if it takes 3 milestones, it's not an MVC. So I decided that, okay, we'll call this midterm vision. And I had to have another sync meeting with Miguel and go over all of the details, make sure that I understand all of the constraints. And together, basically, we negotiated a more MVC. So we decided that, okay, we're not going to add the new panel to the dashboard, but we're going to allow the user to preview the panel and then copy the code and make it easier to go to their dashboard file and paste in there. So of course, it's not ideal, but we're shipping something very important here, which is a preview. So now you can see what your panel will look like. You can tweak all the different panel properties. And then once you're happy with the result, you can add it to your dashboard, which really reduces the barrier to entry for users who are not really comfortable working with YAML files. So once we did that, there was like 1 week until the end of the milestone, not much time to run proper solution validation effort, because we really wanted to start implementing some type of MVC in this milestone. So I conducted unmoderated internal usability testing with our own infra team, who gave us really good feedback, and I was able to further improve the prototype. So now at least we know that the MVC will work, and then we can further learn from the feedback that we will get from once it's actually built. So the next steps would be to implement this MVC solution in 13.3. And then there are multiple follow-up issues. I linked the epic in the agenda, where we will be doing more discovery and more solution validation around the midterm vision, the long-term vision, and so on. So this is very exciting because we're starting to allow our users to do things within the UI and not just within the actual YAML files. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Just ping me on Slack or yeah, feel free to schedule a coffee chat. And now I will hand it over to Amelia, who will tell you more about her work on incident management.